I want to read to you something that just really is profound. And I titled this episode, When Did You Stop Wondering and Begin Wandering? And I'm adding the emphasis on the A. Wandering around, stumbling, bumbling. And we lost our wonder. And, I pick up this passage from Gay Hendricks' book, Conscious Living. And it was so profound, man. It just leaped, whatever the word is. It just jumped out there at me. And so let me read this to you, man. Gay Hendricks writes, if you keep your wonder alive, you're on the path of conscious living. When your wonder dies, when you quit asking the big questions, when you settle into a life of roles, rituals, routines, and really just a comfortable life, you begin to live a life of justification rather than a life of exploration. And when you turn into a life of justification, something precious dies within you. Whew. I can tell you this firsthand, that every day the walls of judgment and opinion constantly try to squeeze in on me, especially as I get older. And the wolves of satisfaction and complacency are always nipping at my heels. And that is something, man, that you have to realize is never going to go away for you. It's always going to be there for you. And I'm blessed to know that reading every day, writing, and sharing have become that forcing function for me. It's become my morning ritual that keep the walls of judgment and opinion from closing in on me, and they keep the wolves of satisfaction and complacency, they keep them at bay. But if you think for 1 minute that you're ever going to get to a certain level in life and not have to deal with uncertainty, adversity, and complacency, it's just going to be set it and forget it, you're going to be in for a hard life. It's never going to go away. And so the actions of reading and writing and communicating what I read and write, oftentimes just with myself. I just use the medium of a podcast, but that's not for everybody. But I use the medium of a podcast to articulate that message. If anything, if for no other reason, if nobody listened to any of these episodes, it's a way for me to write, spend time with myself, unpack the thoughts, interpret it. What does it mean to me? And it cultivates wonder and prevents me from caving into wondering, stumbling, and bumbling around. Hendricks goes on to say that when he was a therapist, when he worked with clients, he would have the clients bring in childhood photos at various ages and stages in their life. And he said there was always one photo that showed a time when wonder was no longer visible on their face. And he asked them, what happened? What killed it? And how did you plug the hole where it was ripped from? That is such a powerful image. You go back and look at old photos of yourself. Childhood or various stages. I bet you could spot it in yourself real quick. The turning point. What happened? Who or what killed it? And what did you do to plug the hole? And you plugged it probably with accepting, giving up, probably numbed yourself to the pain with vices, eating, drinking, toxic people, work. Just gave up. When was that time for you? When was that time for you that you lost your wonder and just accepted a life of wondering? Accepting a life of it is what it is. See, had I not been committed to writing something every day, and really, I wandered into this. I stumbled into reading and writing. I didn't read my first book until I was 25. I got all through high school, mostly through college. I have 18 hours. I never finished, but mostly through college. Never read a book. And the first book I ever read was because I was just trying to figure out how to get out of the casino life and get into a real job. No shade to those who work at a casino. It just wasn't for me. And so I didn't see a future. Let me say it like that. I didn't see a future in that field. And I began to wonder because I was tired of wandering. And that's what happens. We live in 3 points in life. Point A, wake up. Point B, go to work. Point C, go to bed. Rinse and repeat. And life gets stale, boring, depressing. And we just give up. So when I was at my lowest point in life, the only thing I could turn to was reading. So I began to read, but then I wanted to do something with what I read. And so I wandered, emphasis on the A, I wandered into writing. I just started writing word for word. And see, the reading and the writing began to cultivate the wonder. I began to question what I was reading. And instead of writing word for word, because sometimes you have to borrow someone else's voice and thinking until you can develop your own. I was at a tough point in my life, dark point, suicidal, giving up, wondering. And so that mechanism began to make me pick up the pen and wonder, what is my life about? Where am I going? What are my dreams? How far can I go? How can I get out of this mess? How can I get my life back on track? How can I attract good people into my life? How can I do something more with the talents that God has blessed me with? And so that act of reading and writing began to put me on the path of embodying, living that life, and then sharing it with you. I can tell you this, that the last episode 859, was critical for me. Because wondering and wandering are really, really close to one another. And if you're not consciously wondering, questioning, asking big questions, looking at what you're doing every day, and performing a process that cultivates that, not just do the process, but actually just triggers it. If you're not doing that, you're going to slip into wandering, drifting along, point A to point B to point C, wake up, go to work, go home, rinse and repeat. And you slip into this life of complacency, and you justify it away. And over beers, you say, oh, this is what I could have done. So last week's episode, and putting in a small grading system, has become a powerful reflective mechanism for me in the mornings. Super simple. Grade 1 to 5. Yesterday, how well did you communicate? 1 to 5. 5 being the best, 1 being not so good. Yesterday, how creative were you? 1 to 5. How curious were you? 1 to 5. What did you learn today? 1 to 5. What did you confront in yourself and possibly others? 1 to 5. Just give myself a quick grade. And it brings an awareness and makes me question, what did I do yesterday? And how can I build on that and improve on that for the rest of my life? In short, how can I wonder and not wonder? Because you can't just coast. You can't just think that this is enough. This is good. There's more for you. And I'm not talking about money. I'm talking about wealth, spiritual, mental, physical, financial, relational. I'm so grateful for these messages I get to share with you, because I share them with myself. And it makes me question, what am I doing? Where am I going? What is it leading to? Is it progressive? Is it impactful for my family, for myself, and for the community at large? My daughter's in a crucial stage in her life right now. Critical stage. She's a junior in high school, and so now she's at the point where she's questioning, what do I want to do after high school? It becomes a sobering reality that, oh my God, I'm about to be an adult. Like, what happens after this? And instead of just wandering into doing what everybody else does, and they wander into college and rack up hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt. And I was explaining to her, I said, you can't bankrupt that. You can't just say, oh, that plan didn't work. They're going to send you a bill. And what happens is, as I was explaining to her, what happens is people, youth, they get into college, they just do something. Most times they drop out. If they do finish, they re-enroll because they still don't know what they want to do. So they just get another degree, or they just wander out of college and they have to grab the first thing that pays the bills and covers the student loan debt. And that's where the trap gets set. Actually, the trap was set way before junior year in high school. What do I want to do? And so I'm telling her, I support you in whatever you want to do. But I'm glad that you're asking these questions. What do I do? And at any time, you can cut bait and go a different direction. Sometimes it's good to dig in. Other times it's good to not chase the sunk cost and say, this isn't for me, whatever it is. And that you constantly question what you're doing. And I'm grateful that I can help her with this, because my 3 sons, I didn't do that. I didn't do that because I was wondering. I was just working in sales, working a gig, making $100,000 a year, whatever it was, $150,000, got a nice car, got a house with a swimming pool, wake up, go to work, come home, new month, back to zero, fight to get the month, great month, poor month, start over. Well, they were looking at Dad and they were like, well, this is what he does. This is what I'm going to do. And so they were shoved out into life, wandering along, because I was wondering. And I'd stopped wondering, asking the big questions. I won't allow that for my daughter, and I won't allow that for my wife. I won't let them wonder, because I start my mornings wondering. It sets the tone, the reading, the writing, the sharing, the communicating with myself and others. Sets the tone instead of sets the trap. And let me tell you this, what's beautiful. Number one, I want you to question, when did I lose my wonder? What happened? Who or what killed it? What did I do to plug the hole? Question that. Don't get too down in the rabbit hole. Don't kick the can down the road. Because immediately, as soon as you hear this message, you can stop wandering, stumbling along, and begin to wonder, what else is there for me? Dude, I'm 51 years old. I have squandered, if being generous, at least 2 decades of my life. I could spend that time wondering, saying, what happened? What happened to the time? Or I can spend the rest of my life wondering, what can I do from here? That's what I want for you. Let's get out of here. Keep it simple. Keep it moving. Never settle. Stay tough. Peace.